Hey everybody, just jumping on to remind you about this awesome event on February 7th at the Fountain Square Brewery. We will be having NUVO's Valentine's Massacre. It's going to be a big vendor event. We'll have several local vendors that will be there to distribute their wares for that special spooky someone. We will also have Pumpkin Cup Horror Trivia at 7 p.m. And at 9 p.m., we're going to have Johnny Crash, our entertainment for the evening. We will also have a little special treat after that. But the whole day, we're going to have some really cool vendors. We're going to have some great things going on. And we just really want everyone to come out and kind of do a little shopping, check out what we have going on, and support local. Sponsored by Cinema Scares Film Festival, Skyline Drive-In, Mr. Dabs, Terror in the Aisles, Hubbard and Craven's Coffee and Tea, Sid Hughes Cult Reviews, Killer Bacon, Gorgeous Art and Photography, Devil Doll 666, and, of course, NUVO. We'll see you there. But do you want to start by introducing yourself and telling everybody about your event that's coming up?
Hey, it's Joe Gatto. You might know me from Impractical Jokers. I'm a stand-up comedian coming to the Long Center on February 13th in Lafayette, Indiana.
Nice. And you have been in comedy for many, many years, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I did the show Impractical Jokers for 9.5 seasons, a decade of my life, 10 years, which is fantastic. And I've been doing stand-up comedy now for 4 years, I would say. And it's been great. It's such a fun time to come out, get everybody together to laugh, warm up with some laughter, because I'm sure people need it because it's a little chilly where you're at. So
Yeah.
it's been so fun.
So tell me about the Tenderloins. Tell me about that.
Yeah, yeah. My improv comedy troupe that I started with the guys back in the day. We were, my roots started in improv comedy. Then I moved to sketch comedy and a couple failed TV pilots before we hit the Impractical Jokers show. And then, once I had that run there, I moved into stand-up comedy, and it's been great. It's just really fun to get up there, tell stories, and I like to make my shows an event where people could come out and laugh and forget about everything that's going on in life and have a date night, bring out their, family, friends, whatever it is, come by themselves and make a new friend. It's just always such a good time. So I'm excited to spread some laughter and joy there.
Sure, that's awesome. Do you feel like when you do stand-up comedy that it is very different from your improv, or do you feel like kind of it has a few elements that are the same?
Well, the show's got the stories get developed. I'm a storyteller, so they've gotten developed through just me telling them, and I improvise a lot in that part of the process. So they feel very much, just conversational and stories from my life, which I love. I love to be able to, talk about things that have happened in my real life that people can relate to and stuff. The Let's Get Into It tour, I really look at how people become the people they are. I look at me as this loud, bold comedian. I didn't start this way. I was a really geeky kid that used to make tests for my father when he was at work. I used to prepare multiple choice exams for dad, and he would come home from his 12-hour a day job, selling life insurance door to door to a pop quiz. So it was definitely a little different.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah.
You were talking about your personal life, and I was reading. Do you really have 14 dogs?
Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, I run an animal shelter here in New York. So we run an animal rescue called Gatto Pups and Friends. It's a senior dog rescue out in New York. We have our own dogs too, the Gatto Pups, but we also adopt out. I think we just adopted out our 152nd dog. We've been doing it for a little bit over 2 years, and it's been phenomenal. It's seniors that need a little bit of love, and it's very rewarding and makes for a very warm house.
Nice. And you wrote a book about your dogs?
Yes, The Dog Father is my love of dogs, desserts, and growing up Italian. So it's a picture book that tells some stories about rescue and some stories about my dogs and whatnot. It's photography that I had taken pictures of my dogs as well. It was a nice project I did during COVID.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, that's available
And
on Amazon if you want to pick that up.
you have another book too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a kid's book called Where's Barry, which came out last year, and that's an illustrated book by that came out through Penguin Books, and that was really sweet. My son had lost his stuffed animal at bedtime, and any parent knows that's an absolute disaster waiting to happen. So he went on
Hmm.
a hunt to find it, and we decided to make a story out of it. It got illustrated by a very talented illustrator, Luke Flowers, who really brought it to life, and it's super sweet to have. And see your family as like a cartoon is really cool.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
So I know you had taken a break to kind of focus more on your family. Do you think that is reflected in your comedy?
Yes, for sure. And my life and my mental state and
Yeah.
everything in between. Yeah, yeah. It's been I'm very happy and it's great to have the kids. You know, the kids bring comedy. I share stories about them on
Sure.
stage with stuff. Now they come to the shows, which is fun sometimes when they're off from school and whatnot, you know. And to be here for like, you know, doing homework, driving to school, pick them up. It's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, didn't you get to do a small part in Clerks 3?
I did. Yeah, Kevin Smith invited us on to do a little cameo situation. It was very fun. Great guy. He's so fun, and as a filmmaker, as an aspiring filmmaker, I look up to everything he's accomplished. It's really nice.
Yeah, I really like the new movie, the 4:30 movie that he just put out. I don't know if you
Yeah,
caught that one yet.
I
It's
haven't
so
yet. No.
good.
Yeah, good, good. Yeah,
So
I love that.
cute.
I love that.
um, I well, and Clerks 3 was good too. It like made me weepy.
I know. Yeah, right. A little nostalgia. It's fun.
I was like, you had to do me like that.
He's good. He's a good storyteller.
Well, you also have done other stuff. You won some awards in for was it an award in NBC?
Well, that was back in the day. Yeah, that's what started our career. But yeah, that's a long time ago.
It still counts.
Yeah, it does count. It does count. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Someone had never seen your show or heard your comedy, and you wanted to, kind of give them an idea of what they were in for, how would you describe your show to them?
Yeah, it's fun because I like I said, I like to make it really an event where people could come and laugh and be part of it together. I really think it's important to be in a room with people laughing. You know, people have gotten into this where they watch comedy specials on, you know, Netflix and Hulu and whatnot, you know, but it's fun to be in the room and feeling you know, everybody laugh together, come out for a night and you know, I think it's really a different experience. It's kind of like watching a movie at home versus getting into the theater. But I think it's fun and important. But for me, I'm a storyteller. So if you want to hear some fun stories about what has made me this crazy comedian that some people know and love, for sure, come on through and hear about my you know, trials and tribulations throughout life.
Nice. Is there anything that you avoid talking about in your shows because you just feel like it's not something that you want to be
Yeah.
involved with?
Yeah, I'm not like a polarizing comedian at all. I don't like divisiveness. I don't like, you know, I have a little bit of edge to me, but nothing like crazy. I think it's important to have everybody laugh together. I think that's really important, and it's just
Sure.
not my type of comedy. I do enjoy those type of comics. It's just not my thing, and I think mostly because I do like tell stories. You know, my life has been very interesting and weird, so it's fun to hear these kind of things. Yeah, so I don't do that. And you know, my show's not vulgar. It's suggested 16 and up because I do use some curse words. I'm not beeped in real life. I'll say the whole word on stage. You know, so that's a little
Yeah,
different. You know, but the content is fine. You know, I have 10-year-old kids come out to my show and they've heard worse. So it's
true.
interesting.
And if their parents brought them, they probably talk worse.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you know, we all slip up for sure.
Um, I think something that's interesting too is, and normally I ask this about musicians and just, the way that life is changing and how the business changes, but I think it's really relevant to comedy, especially with cancel culture. Um, like as you see, things that are changing, for example, that, they're trying to cancel comedians for the things that they make jokes about and things like that. What do you see for the future of comedy? Do you think it's changing? Do you think it's like going in a good direction or?
I think people are very uh I think our world right now needs laughter, and I think people need to laugh, and I think people are coming back to that, which is good. Um, you know, I think that humanity is over the past couple years maybe had taken a little bit of a hit with everything that we've gone through as humans, and you know, from COVIDs and pandemics and you know, all this divisiveness that's been happening. But I am hopeful. I'm an optimistic guy, and I do think that laughter truly does help. I hear from fans all the time about how I've gotten through stuff, and I know being on the other side of it when I'm going through stuff, I like laughter does help me heal. So um I'm confident that we will get back to just enjoying people for what they do, finding what's funny, funny, and if we don't find it for us, then we'd find somebody else.
sure. Yeah. I think sometimes I don't know. I grew up in the 90s. I was a 90s kid, so like
Mm,
well, we made fun of ourselves more
sure.
than like you would beat the other people to making fun of you,
For sure, for sure. Yeah, that defensive comedy was the best, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, you said you grew up like a nerdy kid. I did too. So it's like you kind of, learn to make fun of yourself. But I feel like what came with that was this ability to like banter with other people that are funny.
100%. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
self-deprecating humor for sure is something that is shared within that generation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I part of me is sad that we don't like get to do that because I feel like the way that you accept the weird parts of you if you can make fun of it. But then I feel like I don't know, there's this weird, contrast with the new generation where they're just like, "Oh, we don't do that." And so,
Yeah, well, sometimes, I mean, I think sometimes we did tip it too far too. So I think they've
always.
made it up the other way, which is nice. But it's all about balance and, figuring it out. And we forget sometimes that these kids are kids too, right? They're figuring it out. They don't know what they're doing a lot of the time. They need time to grow. And we put everybody under such a microscope because we
Hmm.
see it all in real time, on their phones, they're posting and doing what, and we're seeing these kids be kids. And if people watched us at our ages that were watching these kids, we were probably making similar mistakes, saying similar stupid stuff, or had similar
Sure.
opinions about things. So it's just
We're
interesting the
super
way we
glad
are.
that there's
Yeah.
no proof of what
Oh
we
yeah,
thought.
thank goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's great. Yeah, like I think that's something that when I was interviewing Michael Rappaport, he was kind of saying like the one thing that he would want people to know about him was that like his online persona is not who he is.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
online persona, and
yeah, yeah.
for that
It's
reason, he's a
acting.
comedian.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Right. Imagine that.
So, I mean, it's. Do you feel like you have to sometimes separate yourself from your comedy just to get people to take you like to like remove that like oh he's trying to be funny or
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I'm in a little different situation where the show I came from, I was a show where I was myself for a decade. So people got to see me be me and get
that's
my
fair.
sensibilities and my humor. So I wasn't like playing a character like I'm not Chandler from Friends or anything like that. So it was just like a different kind of thing. So I think people relate to you in a different way when they see you through that lens and they see you. And I've been pretty broad and open with all my, even through social media now about like, all my things I'm going through in my personal life. I'm pretty open booky about it, for the most part. And I think people just, expect that from you and then see you and it's like, oh, that's the same guy I see all the time. And it's
Yeah,
just like because I've been fortunate enough that I was able to get a little bit of, you know, make my livelihood out of being myself on television. So
nice. And you had a podcast before with the Tenderloins, but you have another one now.
yeah, yeah. Two Cool Moms is the podcast I do with my friend Steve Byrne, co-host. He's a very funny comedian friend of mine, and him and I was always looking to do something, and we started this up about. We're in season 2 now. We've had over like 90 episodes, I think. We just signed up with iHeart Podcast
Nice.
Network, which is great. And basically, we both had really cool moms that gave great motherly advice, and we are for our friends the person that people go to for a little bit of guidance. So we
Sure.
decided to make a podcast around that. First half, we talk about anything and everything as comedians, just have some fun. And then the second half, we take fan submitted dilemmas and try to solve their problems as best we can. So it's
That's
definitely a
cool
good time.
though.
Yeah, it's fun.
What was the news? It used to be people would write into
Dear
Dear.
Abby. Dear Abby.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. 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 Well, yeah, we make a joke in one of them that I'm Dear Flabby.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
see. What do you want people to know about you? Like, if someone didn't know you, or they didn't know who you were, or if your career were to end tomorrow and you had a legacy that was carried,
Yeah.
what would you want it to be?
Oh, kindness for sure. I think it's very important to be kind, and we try to do what we can. I try to instill that in my kids. I try to spread that message with my senior dog rescue out here in New York. I try to do a lot of giving back, and remember we're all human. So let's you get one go around with this. Let's try to be as nice to each other as we can.
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you so
right.
much.
Well,
I appreciate you. Well, I hope your mom and goes okay today, and thanks so much for squeezing me in.
have a great day.
You too. Take care.